Hello and welcome to Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a reading for you. All right, let's get started. So we have the Prince of Swords tonight, Pisces, and that is very energetic energy. It is in that airy place. So it has to do with thinking, logic, problem solving, having passionate beliefs and things like this. All right, so let's see what these tea leaves are going to say tonight. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. A little cowboy. That's the first thing I saw. Also, if you want to like the video or leave a comment, please do. I want to hear from you. And especially if you're new, shout it out in the comment section. Okay. So we have a little cowboy. You can see the hat here. You can see the body. Now you can also see we have it looks like a dog, okay, and a child kind of playing with the dog. Even looks like a little present. Then we have, it looks like a magician. Here's the head, the body, pulling out of a hat, I imagine, right? A rabbit. So we have magic. I feel like this is all stuff from childhood. Now maybe it was that you had received your fur companion, your puppy, your pupper, or maybe it was a cat. It could have been. When you were a kid at some point along the line there for a birthday present. And I think that this is something that you think about a lot. And now maybe it's that you never were allowed to get the dog or the cat or the, hamster or whatever. And you always longed for it. But I feel like this is like one of those core things, and I wonder if you now have the animals that either you wish you had when you were a kid or that you had and you've continued on. Kind of, you grow up with animals and oftentimes you just immediately will get an animal as soon as you live in a place where you can do that, right? And then you just continue to kind of be about that pet life or animal companion life. I don't like calling them pets for some reason. I feel like they are so much our family that, you got to call them your companion, your little friend. And so, now the other part, we have the person with the hat and the rabbit. And I wonder if you were somebody who was interested in cowboys and magic. Did you go through a phase of being interested in the Wild West? I grew up in California, Northern California, near where the gold rush started. And I know there's a lot of gold rushes in the world, right? It's not like the only one that's ever been. But this is where we get the 49ers, and this is kind of a big part of the story why the west of the United States was colonized anyways. There were, these runs on different kinds of minerals and natural resources and so on. But I remember it being so popular when I was a kid in popular culture. But I grew up in a place where, you know, it was a lot of the Western themed stuff. And so it didn't seem to me maybe as interesting. But I could, you know, I could see why if you live somewhere out of the West, it would be kind of a something to pull you in. So I think it's a really shared kind of archetype, right? That people kind of gravitate towards, you know. One of my favorite movies ever is actually a spaghetti Western. It's called El Topo. And a great movie. Go check it out. So yeah, I think that these are things that really caught your interest in those formative years. And I wonder what is going on that, you know, I feel like it's almost you're in one of these parts of your life where you will be headed into a rite of passage. And I think oftentimes when we are on the precipice of a rite of passage, a kind of the page turning, right, and the new chapter will begin here, we have this period of time where we become maybe a little more introspective. We might start considering those old things. We maybe are a little bit sentimental and kind of going over our self-mythologies and indulging in some nostalgia. You know, I'm a millennial, apparently, supposedly. I'm one of the older millennials. Maybe even, I think there's like maybe 2 years above me that are millennials. But yeah, apparently our generation, we really are super into never growing up. Basically never growing up. This is what I've heard. So, you know, I think a lot of us still like are into a lot of the things we used to be into when we were like 12. And unashamedly, right? So, you know, I understand those impulses towards nostalgia. And my birthday is actually coming up in a couple weeks from now. And I'm getting to the end of my 30s, right? And the first thing that a friend of mine asked, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, you know what? I want a Dino Riders lunchbox. I had a red one when I was a kid and I want one so bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this midlife crisis? Am I going to start going back and collecting every random thing that I had when I was a kid? But I really did. I love the Dino Riders. But I do. I think that, you know, you're getting into this place of a little bit of, yeah, looking back. And I think it is because there is this change that is happening. And there's love. There's a lot of love here. We have a big heart. Yeah. We have a clock right here. You can see with the hands. It looks like it's about 10:05, maybe 10:10. And I have two people. They seem both like masculine adults. And I can imagine them outside there. I got this imagery in my head of maybe like being out hunting or like they're outdoorsmen of some kind, fishing, hiking, something where they're outside and they're directing you. Come this way, come this way, come look. And over here we have this, it's a rectangle. And there's a feeling of maybe being excited to be included. But there's always also this feeling of like wanting to go home. I don't know. And that's what I think the rectangle, there's like a, let's go home. I'm ready to go home. But I don't know. I don't know. Why are they showing me that? It's like a brief encounter, like a interaction. We're going home, come on. I almost wonder if it's like dad and older brother. And there's a feeling of wanting to be included. Wanting to be included, but there's also this feeling of going, I want to go home. I actually want to go home. You know? But not a bad thing. I think it's, you know, I don't know. I think this is kind of like a memory just coming through. Now we also have no and no. Oops, I just touched that thing. But this wasn't in. No and no. No. And there's a person right here. She's wearing kind of a large dress and letting go of this bird. There's also the moon. Person carrying a child, somebody. So I feel like these seem like such fragmented things, but there is a feeling of maybe in raising children feeling kind of lonely in that. And I think this maybe is what it is. It's wishing back to the way that you grew up. Because there seems to be like there was like such a closeness. And then something happened along the way. And I wonder if it was that somebody maybe passed away, mom, dad, or whatever. It changed the dynamic of the family. But then as you got older, and got married or well, you didn't have to get married, but you know, you found somebody, had a child with them, you know, if they were involved or not. But I feel like there is a lack of that support system. It doesn't feel the same as when you were a kid. Like, it felt like your family was very together. Like everybody was like thinking in terms of, this is for the family, we're doing this so, you know, everybody can do it. It's not like every person for themselves in this house, you know. It just felt very solid. And then fast forward to your own relationship with your child, your kids, and I feel like there's a sense of really feeling disconnected. And even maybe to a point where you were feeling pretty ignored. You weren't being included in their life. And now maybe you are still together and maybe you still have kids or they're older, you know, hopefully still have kids, right? They were children then and now they are adults possibly, or getting older and less reliant. But I do feel like there's this growing sense of being alone among others, and within your home, your life, your day-to-day, you feel kind of like not super in the loop of things. And I think that's rough for you. Absolutely. Now, I want to introduce, I'm going to try doing some clarifying cards. And these are from Oracle of the Tarot. And I'm sorry, Oracle of the Radiant Sun. That's what they're called, Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And they are beautiful oracle cards. So I want to just kind of pull one for a clarifier, because I'm seeing like these different things. I want to see kind of what input we have here. So we have achievement. I'm going to do another one. Criticism and seduction. Okay. So I almost kind of feel like you have maybe a spouse that is more work oriented, and maybe where you have been more about the family and the household and, you know, being involved with the kids, with the family members, the animals, all the, tedious day to day and the things that you like to do, right? And there might be some criticism that you haven't necessarily focused so much on, like the career stuff, right? And I think that's maybe where there was a lot of disharmony. So I also feel like, there might have been some hint of infidelity. I don't know which side that's coming in on, but I think it really is kind of, almost kind of self-medicating, right? With love, with lust, with courtship and flirtation and, all this kind of stuff. And I think that's really kind of where all this loneliness comes from, right? And feeling not very included in the family. So I don't know which way this seduction one goes, but, it could be that it's been hard for you and, something happened. And my cards half of them are one way. They're all mixed up. I need to fix them. That's going to drive me nuts. Yeah, and maybe kind of in your mind driven to having a connection with somebody else. No judgment from me. These things happen with a lot of people, right? It is not an unusual occurrence, although it can be obviously very destructive and painful and unfulfilling, right? Let's just face it, pretty darn unfulfilling. And so, it might be that way. It might be the other way, where you have this like really work-oriented person that you are with, and you're maybe doing the home stuff more, and they have their, whatever going on, and that is, it can be something that is, again, quite destructive, quite painful. So let's see. We have TBA, if that means anything to you. We also have, look at this. We have a house with the roof up here. You have, it looks like two people kind of in a embrace. And over here we have the siren, right? The mermaid, the one that calls out to those sailors, and they go changing their course towards that beautiful sound, and they end up, hitting the rocks, right? And so everything is sinking. So I do feel like this is a time where, maybe there has been even a little bit of suspicion going around. Maybe there is, a feeling of not being able to trust one another. But I think that ultimately there is a feeling of wanting to work through it and, trying to ignore that, either you know, the siren that is calling for you to get really twisted up in your paranoia and worrying and worrying and worrying, or calling you to step out of your relationship, right? And so, you know, I feel like it is really important when you can catch yourself, to try to pump the brakes, right? Try to keep a clear head, working towards, if this is what you want, of course, working towards kind of firming up that communication and being able to talk about these things, you know, and how they make you feel and you know, whatever, because ultimately just feeling some type of way and not expressing it, it becomes resentment. Not only on your side, but it can on their side too, because they might not even know, why are you so upset all the time? You know, what is going on that you are, you know, in this mood constantly? And maybe it's something that needs to be discussed. Now, we have a face here, and it looks like it has a heart eye. So I do feel like there is kind of this positive romantic aspect here. And I feel like there is a sense of things getting more firm, right? It feels like the union. Or maybe this is somebody that you are courting, or maybe this is even you processing through your own kind of relationship with yourself and getting into a place where you are feeling solid in, you know, your own being, not being pulled this way or that way, or, you know, constantly trying to find something to kind of distract you from the right now. Or, you know, like what is that called? Serial monogamy or whatever. I think that's the one where you, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I think that's the one where you like have relationships one after another. You know, and it might be that at times, yeah, we do things like this, but there needs to be kind of a time to have a little breather. Focus on your own stuff. Focus on yourself, you know. Don't get tempted by that person. And the other thing I wanted to look at is, it looks like we have the sword up here, the Ace of Swords. And I keep looking at this as R-A-W or W-A-R. It could be. But I do feel like it's a reminder, right? Keep your head together, right? Stay in that rational mind, because there will be moments here that are very trying, and you are going to want to go off of just reaction to whatever it is that's happening. And I think it's really important that you are mindful to not just succumb to any kind of reaction or outburst or you know, making ill decisions. So just, yes, checking in with yourself, going half speed on things. All right, so let's do our self-care affirmation cards. And I'm going to stop right here. Flip it over. It says, deep roots. My roots run deep. I stand tall with my feet planted on the earth. I breathe energy in from my roots to the tips of my outstretched fingers. I exhale any negativity. I am grounded. I am grounded. All right. Pisces, I want to tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read all of them, every single one of them. And I look forward to them. I really do. And what else? Oh, yes, if you're new to the channel, definitely shout it out in the comments. All right. I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you. I love you. I love you. We will talk soon. Good night. Good night. Good night.